This video is about taking away with whole numbers, so taking away or subtracting. The first sum we've got is 847, take away 235. Always write down the big number first, which is at 847, and then we're going to take away from that 235. Now it's really important that you line these numbers up in good neat columns, and you always line them up from the right. We'll look at that again in a minute. So 7 take away 5 is 2. That's the first column done, and we do it column by column. 4 take away 3 is 1, and 8 take away 2 is 6. That's the answer to that question. Not all questions are as straightforward as that, but look at another question. We're going to look at 324 take away 185. So a new question, 324 take away 185. We'll put the big number down first, 324, and I'll write the 185 down underneath, put my minus sign in, and my answer space. And I'm going to work column by column, just like before. 4 take away 5, actually I can't do that. If I've only got 4 things to start with, like 4 fingers, I can't take 5 away because there's only 1, 2, 3, 4 here. So I can't actually do it. What you've got to do is you've got to borrow a number from somewhere else. And we borrow one from here. And the way we do that is this. We cross this number out neatly so we can still see what it was. And we reduce that number by 1. We make it smaller by 1. So what is 1 smaller than that number 2? 1. So I'm changing that to a 1. And the 1 that I've borrowed goes here. Now this looks like 14 and we treat it like 14. So I do 14 take away 5, which is 9. Now over here I've got 1 take away 8. Now just like before, if I've only got one thing, I can't take 8 away from it. So I've got to borrow 1 from over here. So I cross this number out, I knock 1 off that number, so that 3 goes down by 1 and becomes a 2. And the 1 I've borrowed, and it's always a 1 I've borrowed, goes here in front of what I've had. So this is now 11 take away 8. 11 take away 8 is 3. That column is done. And over here 2 take away 1 is 1. And that's the answer to that sum, 139. The process we had here is called borrowing, and you've got to do it in lots of these taking away sums. It's only really if you're lucky you haven't got to do it at all. So next off we're going to look at 507 take away 285. So I'm going to start with my big number, 507. I'm going to put my 285 down underneath, and I'm going to do my taking away in my answer space. 7 take away 5. Well, I can do that. If I've got 7 things, is that many, I can take 5 away. I've got 2 left. So I can put that 2 in here. Nothing take away 8. But if I've got nothing, I can't take 8 away. So I've got to do that borrowing thing again. So I move over one column on the top line. I knock that number down by 1. So the 5 becomes a 4. And the 1 I've borrowed comes here. So now I've got 10 take away 8, which is 2. And I've got 4 take away 2, which is also 2. So the answer to that question is 222. We'll do another example. We'll do 8,000 take away 452. Got the big number at the top, that's the 8,000. Write the 452 down, and just like in adding up, you've got to make sure they're levelled off on the right hand side. So here we've got nothing take away 2. I cannot take 2 away from nothing. So I've got to borrow 1 from here. But there's nothing here. I can't borrow from here. So I keep going. Can I borrow from here? Nope, nothing here. Keep going. I borrow 1 from over here. So if I borrow 1 from over here, that 8 is crossed out and becomes a 7. And the 1 I've borrowed can go there. This is now a 10. Which means I can now borrow 1 from here. I can cross this 10 out, knock it down by 1 to make it a 9, and the 1 I've borrowed can go here. Now I can borrow 1 from here. I can cross that 10 out, make it a 9, and put the one I borrowed here. And now I can deal with this column. I can do 10 take away 2 is 8. I can now do 9 take away 5 is 4. I can do 9 take away 4 is 5. And I can do 7 take away nothing, there's nothing there, is just 7. And my answer is 7,548. Let's just do one final one as an example. We'll do 2,083 take away 591. So, the big number down first, the 2,083, the 591 down underneath. I've lined them off on the right hand side, putting my answer space in and my takeaway sign. 3 take away 1 I can do, that's 2. 8 take away 9 I can't do. I can't take 9 away from 8, so I need to borrow 1. So I come here and borrow 1 from here if I can. But I can't because there's nothing there. So I come over again and I borrow 1 from here. So I knock that number down, it becomes a 1. And the one I've borrowed comes here. That becomes a 10. Now I can borrow from here. Knock that 10 down by 1, it becomes a 9. And the one I borrow goes here. This is now an 18. An 18 take away 9 I can do. 18 take away 9 is 9. 9 take away 5 I can do, that is 4. And 1 take away nothing, that is 1. My answer to that question is 1,492.